I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 147. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Vero at Rated G for Gamers. You can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers.com. Please rate and review us on iTunes. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino. This is my co-host, Dan. I may or may not have broken my sabbatical from video games, Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Well,
wow,
what I want to know.
Jump into it. You just want to jump into
what
it.
I want to know, and I think all the fans want to know. Last week, you said I'm taking a break from video games. Have you broken that streak?
Yes.
There it is.
It didn't last that long.
There it is, folks. It's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. You know, it's it's good to kind of break every now and again.
Sometimes you just get burnt out, right?
Of course.
Especially if you're playing really hard games or games. Like Dave does, the Dave way, on very super ultra hard.
You start on hard mode and then you reel it back if the game is too difficult, right? So you give yourself the option. If you start on easy, well, then there you go. You can't get the hard achievement because
listen, man, I
already kicked it off on easy.
I ain't got that type of time. I'm a GMG baby. I'm a
no. I understand. You're an old man.
I don't have
a lot of things to take care of.
I don't have time to wait 5 years to finish a game super ultra hard. I just put it on normal. That's it.
Well, look. I always kick it off on hard, and then I reel it back
after
when
a couple
necessary.
of years. Yeah, like 2 years, you reel it back.
No. Like some games, like
you know what?
I want to say. Well, no. I beat the Order 1886 on hard. I made it through that whole entire game because it's only 5 hours anyway.
Wait,
so
you
I wanted
beat it?
to extend. I beat it a while ago. Yeah,
you didn't tell me that.
I did. Fantastic. I mentioned it on the show, Dan.
No, you mentioned you played it. You beat it.
You know what it is. Your Alzheimer's is kicking in. It's okay.
You didn't tell me you beat it. No, that's fantastic. How do you like it? How'd you like it?
It was good.
Told you.
It was a nice little bite-sized snack that I extended out the gameplay by putting it on hard.
Oh, stop it. Did you platinum it? Did you get all the collectibles?
Oh, no.
Oh, come on.
Way too much, man.
It brings to the game. Come on, it brings to the replayability. You gotta find all the newspapers.
I tried to get as much as I could in that game. Let me tell you.
It makes me want to go back now, platinum man. I want to find all the new. I'm like, I found every newspaper except for like 2. Mm-hmm. And I would have had that I would have had that trophy.
Oh, hot damn, right? That's so you gotta have the walkthrough coming with you. So the first time through, to go left instead of going right, and then you can get the newspaper before you hit the cutscene, and then you get the trophy at the end.
I could probably platinum it over the weekend.
You could probably platinum it. You could probably platinum it before we end the record of the show.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, buddy.
Listen,
all right, buddy.
You could beat that game in your lunch break and still have time to go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac.
Okay, buddy. Okay, I eat Whoppers. Okay, buddy. All right.
You could finish 2 Whoppers and still have time to make it back to work on time and beat that game all on a lunch break.
And you know what? This may all be true, but guess what? The game still made history.
It's fun. That's right.
It made Rated G history.
The only game to be nominated 3 years in a row. It has a dynasty for nominations.
It does.
Oh, they're like the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
But let me ask you a question then. Did you beat Tekken 7?
Well, I mean,
yeah. Look at that.
I didn't beat everything in Tekken 7. I beat some of Tekken 7. Tekken 7 is a game that I put down to normal. I did because I got stuck, and it was like eventually I'm just like, ugh. So I haven't gone back to it in a bit because other stuff kind of came in the way. So yeah,
All right.
it wasn't the difficulty. That was the roadblock.
All right. So Dave,
Mhm.
since you brought it up,
I did,
as we always try to start the show, but epically fail, not
except today.
episode 147.
Except today.
Dave, what have you been playing?
I have been playing what everyone should be playing if they own a game console that is not the Nintendo Switch. You need to download the Resident Evil 2 one-shot demo. It is fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, you only get like 30 minutes, right?
You only get 30 minutes. I think that's right. I timed out on my first playthrough. Because you can kind of like putz around a little bit and explore the police station. Because that's where you start. You start right in the middle of the police station, which I think is where the original RE2 originally started. Right, you start with the police station. So yeah, I mean you have to be kind of quick, but you can get to the end. You just kind of have to be smart about it and run around and not kind of look at every little thing. But it's really cool. All of the and if you watch like the trailer, they think they put out a new trailer for the game. All of the secret characters are back, which means you can play as the giant block of tofu.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. It was like, I think it was the last unlockable character. If you did everything in the game, you get to play as a giant block of tofu. It's really funny, but it's back in the game.
All right, so I haven't played it. I haven't downloaded it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
Well, you have until the end of the month. So
yeah, well, until the game comes out. I think.
Well, I mean, the demo's out of the store on the 31st.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna download the demo. Probably after the show and try it out. I don't like spooky games, so 30 minutes is gonna be me just wandering around looking at stuff. I'm probably not even gonna open the door. I'm just gonna be looking at stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a little bit scary. I mean, obviously the visuals are definitely 2019. I'm pretty sure it uses the same engine as RE7, but everything looks really good, which means it's creepy.
Nice.
Yeah.
No
complaints. No complaints on the game.
My game. So I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Switch. The first one. I got into Life is Strange 2 a little bit. I played like maybe not even an hour, like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Just so the story, because I've been wandering around looking at things, just trying to really see if I can connect with this character, because I connected with the first character so well. It's okay. I want to give it a fair shot, but I've been playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. That's been dominating, sort of my attention. I unlocked I unlocked a lot of people. I think I'm like 66. I don't even know how many more I have to go. I think I have like 66 characters unlocked.
Wow, it's 74 total, I think. You're pretty much up to where I'm at, I think.
Yeah, 66 or 68 was one of those. Surprisingly enough, I went back to Titanfall 2 on Xbox One.
Did? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to go back to this game. I haven't played this game since January of 2018. So it's been a year, right? I was gonna start it over, but I said let me give it a shot at where I left off. I died a lot because I forgot how to wall run. I forgot everything. I forgot how to change the gun. So I had to teach myself. This all over again so I can learn how to play again. And I beat the level, and I was like, okay. So I think I can do it now. I don't need to go back for a tutorial, but this is what I'm saying. There should be some in-game tutorial if you haven't played the game in a while.
100% agree. Be able to go back and do it, because they do have it in the game. They have a little thing that says like, we can teach you the basic controls, or you can go right to the game. But I don't think you can ever get back to that, right? Because they figure like, oh, you already know how to play the game. There's no reason.
Yeah, they figured you're not going to take a year off like me.
Exactly. Well, maybe if you start a brand new game, like you could end up going to the. Well,
no, that's the thing. I didn't want to start a brand new game.
No. Just to kind of polish up. Polish up your skills.
No. It said what do you want to do? And I put new game. It said if you start a new game, all your old game stuff will be erased.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
So I would have to log into another profile.
From the menu. Yeah.
I could make another profile on my Xbox and do that, but I didn't want to do all of that.
You could, yeah. It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. But I've been really, 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 really excited. I was excited for this game, a game I've already beaten, essentially. And I've been playing the heck out of this since I got it, and that is New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe on the Switch.
Hey, nice. Yet another port to the system.
Another port, but I mean, well, technically this is 2 ports in one because it's New Super Luigi Brothers U as well. So you get 2 games in one for the price of $60.
2 for the price of 1. There you go. Not bad. Not a bad deal.
And so I beat New Super Mario Brothers U when it came out back in I think 2012. I don't think I beat Luigi U. I think I made it halfway through. Luigi U is sort of like challenge mode, right? Like a challenge mode. So you get the timer is down to 100, and the stages are abbreviated. So I don't think there's any checkpoints, and you have to beat the stage, in 100 seconds, before time runs out.
Right.
But the big thing about this game and New Super Mario Brothers U is you can play as Peachette, which makes it easy because you can float. Right. Once you get the crown and you turn into Peachette, because you have Toadette and you turn into Peachette with the crown, and you can float just like in Super Mario Brothers 2. And you can get Nabbit. And Nabbit, you can't get killed by enemies because they can't touch you. But if you fall down a pit, you're dead. So it's you're not invincible, right? So what those stages where you're sort of have to stay on the thing that's moving up, right? You really have to do your best to maneuver, because if you fall, it's over. So even Nabbit can't help you with that. I've ran into some levels that I don't know how I beat, and they're pretty difficult, and I had to use Nabbit just for the sake of time, because I already beat this game. I totally forgot what the ending is because I beat this game 5 years ago. Well, at this point, 6 years ago. So no, can't recommend it enough. I would go buy it if you like Mario platforming games.
I haven't played them when they were out on the old systems, and I still haven't played them yet. So maybe
I would recommend getting this. I would recommend getting this if you didn't play. Listen, if you didn't play it on the Wii U, this is the highest recommendation I can give. Get it. It's a fantastic game. I think it's the second best new Super Mario Brothers game that came out. Behind Super Mario Brothers, the new Super Mario Brothers that came on the 3DS or the DS. So I think this is the second best one out of all of them.
Oh, all right. Honestly, and it's a little hard to keep track of the releases, what systems they came on, which ones are new, which ones are super new, and new super.
Well, the one for the Wii was pretty good, right? I would say that's my third. I would say that's the third best one.
That was Super Mario Brothers Wii, right? Or New Super Mario Brothers Wii.
New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and then this is the New Super Mario Brothers Wii U, and this is Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe.
They just name it something different.
What?
Nintendo is the worst with this, because we're having this discussion now, and it's still making my head spin. It's like if you just said it was like Super Mario Brothers 4 or Super Mario. I mean, just something to make it different, right? Because it's just like it's all Super Mario Brothers. So there's
okay. So
Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers U, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. It's like
so the first one was New Super Mario Brothers, which was on the DS.
Well, no. The first one was Mario Brothers, and then they stuck a super on it.
Out of the new supers.
Well,
right?
no, but I'm just saying.
I know, but
you got to factor those in.
Well, this is a new series. This is the new Super.
It's Mario Brothers. You go from left to right.
Super Mario Brothers. It's the new Super Mario Brothers. But
it is not new. It is not new. I would just call it Mario Brothers 4.
No, well,
something different enough.
Well, that would
it's not confusing.
They already have Mario Brothers 4. It's called Mario Brothers 64.
Super Mario 64. That is technically Super Mario World was supposed to be Super Mario Brothers 4.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Well, listen, it had
Yeah.
4 in it, right? Super Mario Brothers 64.
Oh my god. Yeah. See, it's all confusing. It makes my head spin.
Well, they got new Super Mario Brothers for the 3D for the DS, new Super Mario Brothers 2 for the 3DS, new Super Mario Brothers Wii, new Super Mario Brothers.
New Super Mario Brothers Wii is a different game than the DS one.
Yeah, it's the console version.
It's the console version. It's the console version of the DS game. See, there you go.
Well, no, it's new. It's different levels. It's different.
Oh,
levels.
it is different levels. All right,
you get that, and you get the hat spinner. Right? Remember, you get the hat that with the propellers on it.
Oh, right. Because that's the one that's in Mario Maker, I think.
Yeah, and then you got new Super Mario Brothers U, which was the follow up to that. That was the sequel, I guess. Right. So and then new Super Luigi U, with the abbreviated levels, right? That was like a challenge mode game, and now we have the
new
deluxe
Super
version.
Mario Brothers Deluxe. Okay, I'm gonna forget all this in like 5 minutes. It's gonna.
You're gonna forget all of it. You forget all of it. All right. So what have you been doing this weekend?
Well, I have to say that.
Tell me about your weekend.
Well, I've been reading for a while on and off the Console Wars book, which is now being turned into a TV series, I think, on Netflix. They wanted to do a feature film, but I think they're going to do a Netflix multi-part series on it, and it's basically the war between Nintendo and Sega. And it starts like a little bit before the Genesis, and then goes through the Genesis and up through the the Saturn debacle and the PlayStation 1 stuff and all that. It's a really fascinating book, and it kind of tells like both sides of the coin. And the reason I kind of bring it up is because I was reading about Microsoft and some stories about Xbox and how Microsoft is focused on the infrastructure of the system and kind of making improvements that way, and also like bringing in new studios and whatnot to try and bolster their exclusive game library. All these kind of moves they're doing behind the scenes while Sony is dominating right now in the console wars, right?
Just imagine how the landscape would have been if Bill Gates, because let's rewind for a second. Everyone sort of considers the original Xbox, the OG Xbox, Dreamcast 2, right? There were a lot of similarities between the Xbox,
down to the controller and the integrated internet on there,
and then they had a lot of the Dreamcast games. The sequels were Xbox exclusives, right? They broke it.
Microsoft made that happen.
Imagine if Bill Gates would have just bought Sega. Like he was like they talked. They were in talks. Mm-hmm. Well, not talks with Sega, but there were internal talks at Microsoft to just buy Sega flat out.
Oh yeah.
And he said he just didn't believe in them. He didn't believe that they can do it. Right. He just didn't believe that they can actually.
It wouldn't be enough for Microsoft to ride on that.
I know, but he could have just bought them, and then he, just make an Xbox team and they run it, and then you have all these exclusive games and Japanese games. You would have had a foot in the Japanese market.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean they've always had a problem overseas. But the reason I was bringing that book up was I was reading a bit about the backwards compatibility and all that, right? And it goes all the way back to the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, right? Sega talked internally about like, what do we do about all these people that have the Master System, right? Because now as like a company, we're telling all our consumers to say, hey, buy this new system, but all the stuff that you have previously isn't going to work, right? So what they decided to do was make like a $30 add-on that would be like a converter, and it would allow you to play the Master System games, right? And Nintendo was trying to do the same thing. There was a push internally to say let's make this backwards compatible, but it turned out they didn't really have the budget. They couldn't get it in that $200 price window. When it ended up first coming out, it was kind of a thing. And it's just kind of interesting to see that it was a topic like way back when, and it's now it's now something that Microsoft is, trying to do with their infrastructure, right? They're saying, hey, you have all these great 360 games, right? You're part of the Xbox ecosystem. Here, we've managed to emulate the 360 on the Xbox One, and they keep expanding their compatibility chart. So like most of the games that you own on the 360, you can just pop in and play again with like a small little update.
I mean, I have that converter
Mm-hmm.
for my Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool to have like a little converter that you could play Nintendo games against Super
Nintendo
Nintendo.
games, right? Right,
Yeah.
because you had to have two systems hooked up if you wanted to.
Well, they put
if
out.
you wanted to play both.
They put out. Remember, they put out Top Loader NES.
They did.
Right? That was
Yeah.
like sort of their cheaper version, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it had. I don't think it had like AV outputs on it at all.
Yeah, I think they may have cut down costs a little bit.
They cut down costs on that one, but it was definitely a top loader, which helped out tremendously, compared to the VCR that the original NES was,
Mhm.
right? Where you had to put it in and push it down,
Oh yeah.
right? And we know we're not going to get into the history of Nintendo and why they did that, but that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
With the back compatibility, they were thinking about that back then with cartridges as well.
Right. And then you would kind of brought up the point because I thought PS2 was the first one to really like, oh, we're gonna do backwards compatibility. But I mean, you remember like I think you would brought up like the Game Boy Color was compatible with Game Boy. Game Boy Advance was compatible back to Game Boy. The 3DS compatible with the DS. So it's interesting.
Nintendo's been doing it with they've done a successful job with their handhelds.
Yeah.
As far as backwards compatible.
Yeah, the GameCube games compatible on the Wii,
And the Wii games are compatible on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense. And now they're just porting all their games to the Switch and making just call it the deluxe version.
Yeah,
you buy it all over again. So I spent my weekend finishing binge watching, I should say, a lot of the Netflix series. So I'm done with Iron Fist season 2, which is pretty good. I'm in the middle of Daredevil season 3. I got like 5 more episodes and then I'll be done with that. And I'll be ready for the Punisher, right? Brand new Punisher coming out January 18th. I didn't know this, that the deal that Netflix had with Marvel with all those characters, if the show is canceled on Netflix, those characters can't show up anywhere else for 2 years.
Wow, really? They have I guess what you would call a non-compete clause.
They really did. So maybe Marvel is like, yeah, cancel them now in 2018 so they can bring them back in their streaming service in 2020, right? Or something like that. Right. That is actually interesting. That brings to, why would they sign that though, right? Like why would they do that to themselves? I don't know. Well, Marvel's acting sort of coy. They're like, hey, we didn't know they were gonna cancel all these shows.
Right.
I think that's total BS. I think
how would they not know? Like Netflix obviously knew that this was coming. Disney kind of comes in and has a discussion and is like, well, look, now we know, now we own all these properties. We're going to go ahead and pull them from your service, right? And there's nothing Netflix can do about it, right? Except for the deals that were already inked, right? Daredevil season 3, the new Jessica Jones, the new Punisher, but that's it. Then they're done.
Well, this is why Netflix, I think, is sort of dying out a little bit.
Really,
which is why they're putting billions of dollars into original content.
Well, that's what's saving them. Yeah. Because now there's a reason to subscribe to the service, right?
I got to be honest, it's okay. I don't watch a lot of that new stuff.
Oh, really?
A lot of stuff is okay. I really like when Netflix, because I used to in the past like to watch all the corny B horror movies or B science fiction movies back in the day.
Yeah.
Because I hold fond memories of watching those movies with my dad, who passed away when I was a teenager. So that's really why I got Netflix, to be honest with you, in the beginning. And then I can watch, Marvel. I wanted to watch the Marvel shows, which I guess are sort of originals to Netflix, right? But characters I already know about because I was a comic book nerd. I don't really watch a lot of I don't watch a lot of the Netflix new stuff. I mean, listen, I watched the thing with Sandra Bullock.
You watched the Bird Box?
I watched the Bird Box. I wasn't impressed. It was okay. I didn't think it was all of that. And I don't recommend anyone doing the Bird Box challenge. Don't cover your eyes and work at the same time. That would be a disaster.
Oh my god. I don't even know how that would work for most professions, but yeah, probably not a good idea.
Dave, why don't you start programming with your eyes closed?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Also, I've been checking out CES. Like,
Mhm.
as of this recording, CES is right now. I think it's sort of almost over, actually.
Yeah,
yeah. I've been watching a lot of things. CES used to be where we got our video game information many moons ago, before there was E3. And you can still get some gaming news there. As far as you're not going to get any big gaming announcements, but we get some cool stuff like Arcade 1-Up. They put out all those sort of put it together yourself arcade cabinets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got okay reviews, mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people didn't. Especially the really old school. I think what was that game? What was a really old school game with the knob? I mean,
Pong.
No, it wasn't Pong. It was like Space Invaders or something like that.
Oh,
I think it was
Space War, maybe.
Yeah, Space War. People like John Hancock. People didn't really like that. They said the knob wasn't as clicky or responsive. Mm-hmm. But Street Fighter did really well. Everyone liked the Street Fighter cabinet, and now they're coming out with a Mortal Kombat trilogy cabinet.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm interested.
Uh-huh.
So I was a big Mortal Kombat guy in arcade, only because the Street Fighter arcade one was always packed. So I would go to another pizzeria, and they had like an arcade in the basement, and then they had Mortal Kombat 2, where I used to always play and hone my skills. That, and they have like it's going to be CES is going to be big on like sort of VR headsets, right? You were telling me about this new Vive headset.
The Vive Pro Eye is the next thing, which will track your eye movements, right? That's kind of the new big step in consumer technology, right? We've had good VR for a while. It can detect where you are in the room. It can provide quality visuals. The frame rate's good. So people were definitely jumping on. Like the new thing now is the eye tracking, right? And the reason the eye tracking thing is so amazing is that, right, you can only see what you can see, right? And what I mean by that is, like, you're in a room, right? The room has 4 walls, right? But you can only see in a cone in front of you, right? So you don't know what's going on behind you, right? You can turn yourself around, but now you're looking at and now you're looking at the back of the room.
What if the room only had 3 walls?
Well, you still wouldn't be able to see behind you. You could certainly be in a triangle room. You can be in an odd-shaped room that has 1,000,000 walls. The point is you can't see what you can't see. So stuff that's behind you isn't technically. It's there because you're in a room and you have object permanence, right? And you can turn around and see it, but you don't physically see it at that moment. So you technically don't know what's there until you turn around, right? So using the eye tracking, like, you can look at certain things and the computer can know to, like, well, okay, I need to render this. The stuff that's in the background isn't important. I don't really need to render that because you're not looking at that right now, right? Which then that, saves on processing power and whatnot, because you're not rendering the whole entire room at once, right? You're rendering aspects of a room, or you're rendering an aspect of the room more than other aspects, right? The back of the room is like a low poly thing or whatever. And then you turn around and, like, as you're, like, turning, it'll start rendering in that stuff, So it could be a big step in getting VR headsets into the kind of home computer area, because the barrier for entry has been very high, right? Because you need a lot of processing power to render everything out, right? You need a high-end graphics card, sometimes 2.
But the wires, the setup is ridiculous. The wires.
Well, that's the next step is to make that all wireless, right? But in terms of this, there's only, as far as I understand, there's only one wire that comes from your computer to your headset, I think, at least for the PC variants, right? Maybe a big wire, but it should be one wire coming through. So You know,
We're still missing the killer app. We're still missing a reason to have VR, like something that everyone needs to do. Like everyone, just every Joe Schmo. Why do we have the VR headset? I still don't think we have that reason right now.
what about like Skyrim in VR or Doom in VR or
Those
Resident
are-
Evil 7?
Those just I don't think
Tetris.
those are nice experiences.
Uh-huh.
I just don't think that's the killer app. That's like I have to do this.
What would
What it take? I don't know. If
what-
I knew, I would start a VR company. If I knew, I would start a company rated G VR.
I think
What would I want though? I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know.
well, that's the thing. I think we've hit on most, if not all, of the major genres in some sort of AAA format, right? We've had VR racing.
I'm not talking about gaming though. I'm talking about in general. We need that killer app to get people to use VR, and then they will be more open to doing other things in it, like video games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we have like just a reason, a everyday reason to have a VR headset yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will. Listen, Total Recall is happening.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we're there yet. It's just happening a little bit slower.
Yeah, I think one of the major hurdles has been that a lot of people can't play for extended periods of time. You know, they get kind of motion sickness, I think, right? And that comes down to processing power and rendering 60 frames a second, making sure everything's smooth, making sure that, you know, the head tracking and the motion is good within the game world. You know, it's something that doesn't bother me. Like I can sit there all day and play Resident Evil 7 in VR, and I'm good. But I mean, I get it. You know, not everybody is that. Not everybody is that. I don't know. Strong. I don't know necessarily what the word is, but able to kind of handle it.
Strong.
Well, whatever the appropriate word is to be able to handle it for an extended period of time, right? You know, it's not for everybody in that way. So when that,
well,
when
you know
that
what?
gets,
Listen, it's not only that. Like when I put on the PSVR headset, it can get a little sweaty in there as well, right?
That
Like,
too.
they can make it as light as it wants, but you know, depending on even if it's just room temperature, like sometimes I have to take the headset off just because I'm sweating bullets, and then it's fogging my view, right? And I got to wipe it down.
Mm-hmm.
So my
that I can totally relate to. Like that happens to me like crazy. Like I sweat like crazy.
And I think the PSVR headset is like the best designed, right? Out of all of them, it's pretty light. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we tried the Oculus, we tried the Vive when we went to
Penny Arcade, yep,
PAX over years, and I think the PSVR just feels better out of all of them that I've tried. Yeah, and I still sweat like crazy, and I always like every 10 minutes or 10-15 minutes I gotta like take it off a little bit and I'm not disoriented that I just gotta wipe myself down. So or just have a fan on.
Yeah, right.
All right. Hopefully one day VR can be really, you know, we're still waiting for that killer app for VR to be mainstream. But I'm glad this is not something that's going away, that they keep iterating, and definitely wireless is the way to go. Hopefully we can get there in a couple of years. But the thing that caught my attention at CES this year is the Sega Switch. I mean, Sega Nomad. There was the Switch before it was the Switch, right?
Yeah.
The Sega Nomad. You could play Genesis games on the go.
Yeah. Just about every Genesis game was compatible. Sadly, it was only one player. They didn't have any controller ports on there to be able to do like 2-player and whatnot, but you could play, you know, Comic Zone and Street Fighter and Sonic on the go. You know, it was great.
It was great. It's expensive nowadays. But they're coming out this year with a new version of the Sega Nomad.
Are you excited? I have to ask that question.
I kind of still just want the old one. I want to buy the old version. I don't.
Well,
I want to buy the original Sega Nomad. I don't know if I want to buy the new and improved Sega Nomad.
I would be about the new and improved one, but
it's a clone system. It's a clone Sega Nomad.
Well, I'm fine with all that. I'm just worried about who's going to put it out. All right. Because if it's if it's going to be at games,
Well, it's not going to be. It's not.
then it's a different story.
It's
If at
Retrobit.
games isn't doing it, then it's
Retrobit is doing it.
okay.
Retrobit
So,
always has something at CES.
right. So Retrobit definitely a better company than at games. It's no analog. It's not the analog NT, but yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if it gets good reviews. I will gladly pick this up.
Dave, you get any good pickups this weekend?
I didn't really get any pickups this weekend. It was a little light. It's a little light for me, so
I went a little crazy. little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I already
know.
Sorry, I told you I got the Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up Nintendo Fun Club News, Zelda 1, the edition that had Zelda 1 on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little pricey, I'm not going to lie, but I'm glad I picked that up because I actually want to play Zelda 1 on the Nintendo Online service, and I want to use the map. I got Katamari Damacy Reroll. That's on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. That's the remake of the first one.
The remake of the first one. It's sold out everywhere.
I know.
Picked up Mario Tennis Aces finally. I know. A game that you were about when you first got it, and then you sort of became lukewarm on it.
Yeah, the hype died down very quickly on that game.
I went a little crazy with the Fist of the North Star. I got Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Fist of the North Star for the Game Boy, and I got Fist of the North Star for NES. I got Bloody Roar Extreme on the original Xbox and Bloody Roar Primal Fury for the GameCube.
I didn't know they made that many. I thought they stopped at like 3.
No, there's a lot, and they're expensive for the PlayStation 1 and stuff. And they're
yeah. I mean, I definitely remember the PS1 ones.
I got a game that I've been looking for a long time for a good price, and I got Knuckles Chaotix for the 32X. I never thought I'd say 32X, right? I got like 432X.
In their like limited 40 game library.
I think it's even less than that.
Maybe, yeah.
And the biggest pickup I got this week was Mario Clash for the Virtual Boy in box.
Very nice
condition.
Very nice.
So that's a game, but the Virtual Boy game I really want is Waterworld. Don't ask me why. As a kid, I loved the movie. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you have nostalgia. That's why.
I always wanted the game for Virtual Boy. I wanted the Virtual Boy. I never got it. But all right. So why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we get into the top 10 gaming news of last week. And we're back. All right, let's get into the top 10 gaming news of last week. Let's talk about Nintendo. Everybody was all up in arms over Nintendo last week. Apparently, the new president of Nintendo, Furukawa-san, correct? Did I get it right?
Furukawa, Shintaro Furukawa.
I did it.
The new president. Yeah. Congrats.
I did it. I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible with names. And I work in real estate. I'm horrible with names.
Yeah. He was the guy. I think we're assuming he was the guy who spearheaded the whole like Nintendo streaming on YouTube thing, and basically you had to be in a specific club and authorized, and that's all down.
He shut that down. He shut that down.
So he's definitely making waves.
He's making waves. He's bringing Nintendo into the 21st century, right? Because they were sort of being, they were kind of archaic in some of their ways, right? Like not only if we can get native voice chat in the Switch, and we'd be fully there. That'd be fully caught up.
Oh well, let's not get crazy. We'd be better off. There's still some things like I want to be able to search for somebody online and then send a friend request and not have to use the 16-digit friend code. Well,
come on, you asking for too much. Wait till the Switch. Wait till the Switch Lite comes out.
Oh my God, Jesus! They just have to like. I understand you want to make your system kid friendly, but it's also the 21st century. There's ways to keep it safe.
It's ways to keep it safe. All right. So look, he pretty much sort of did an interview recently where he alluded to, maybe Nintendo not making consoles in the future, and that sort of comment people took out of context, right?
100%.
And they blew it, and they ran with it.
Nintendo's not making consoles anymore. Nintendo says no. They're looking towards the future. They're not saying that the Switch is going to die anytime soon, but I think they understand that the writing is on the wall, that streaming is and mobile platforms and whatever is kind of the future of gaming, right?
Yeah. And he pretty much said he could see a drastic change in the company's hardware division, right? And Nintendo's been around since the late 1800s, right?
They used to be a playing card company way back in the day, and then they made
toy company. They were a toy company as well.
Made toys, and then they
still make toys. They make cardboard toys.
They do. They do.
I think, again, Nintendo sort of will evolve with the times, right? I mean, they were all arcade cabinets back in the 70s, right? And then they evolved to home consoles, and they brought the home console market back to life in the States.
Right. After the crash of 82, 83, Nintendo stepped in and said, "Hey, wait a minute, video games aren't dead. And, we'll show you how to do it right."
Is a VCR that you put in your entertainment system that will play games.
The only thing I'll say about Nintendo, if they stop doing physical hardware, in like you need to buy this whole game console and whatnot, is that Nintendo always has unique ways to play their games. They're always kind of doing their own thing, right? And everybody jumps on board because 9 times out of 10 they get it right, So I think whichever way they end up going, that you're still going to need like Nintendo's kind of like sort of interface in some way, right? Because he wants to make a big push in mobile, right? He wants to make big changes like in 2020, and big push in mobile. Could we see hardware? Like it's sort of like a hardware where you put your phone in and it's just a controller, right? It turns into like kind of like a shell. Yeah, I mean we've certainly seen that in some cases. You can certainly buy stuff now that converts your phone into like an Xbox controller or some sort of thing with 2 sticks, and you can use that to play games and whatnot. Hooks up Bluetooth, right? Snaps around the thing. Like that's certainly possible, right?
Or will they stay the route of the Switch, right? Where because he was talking about home consoles, but maybe they just go portable. All right. Because Nintendo has always had 2 divisions. They've always had home console and handheld division, and they had different studios making games for both. And, when one was down, the other one carried them through, right? You had the GameCube. The GameCube, great system. People revere it now. People like it now. But back then, it was third on the list behind the PS2 and the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So
it was a very odd system with an odd controller.
But while that market was sort of down, the home console market was down for them. They didn't dominate the home console market like they did in previous years. Prior to that, they had Game Boy Advance, doing really well.
GBA was great, and then the DS after that was a success. So
and then look at the Wii U. When you had the Wii U wasn't doing so well. They had the 3DS, right? They would always put out games on the Wii U and the 3DS because the 3DS was doing really well. Right, so they always had that handheld market to hold them down. Yeah. When the console market wasn't doing so well. I can see them going full handheld, doing sort of like a Switch type of thing where maybe you can stream games, right? Because in Japan, you can stream. They have a better infrastructure than anywhere else. You can stream
Resident Evil over there. Resident Evil 7, I think.
Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yep. And, people say it works pretty well. The reports are saying, like, it's pretty damn good.
Now, will they go full third party, where we could play Super Mario games on Xbox or PlayStation? Right?
Maybe.
They'll go that far?
I don't know. They just, again, I think it comes down to the interface and whatnot, right? Nintendo always has like an idea of like, okay, we have this brilliant idea of how we want this game experience to go, right? So the Xbox certainly has the hardware to do it. They can certainly put out beautiful visuals, and Nintendo could make some amazing games on there. But it just has to kind of be the right. It has to be the right fit and the right experience. Because I don't know, like if I were to play Mario on Xbox, it'd feel weird. Like
it
for a
would
little
feel
while.
really. It would feel
weird.
really
Be like, huh. It's like the first time I played a Sega property, not on a Sega console, it was a little weird, because they were Sega had their whole line for like a good 20 years, and then they just up and like
The first time I played Sonic on PS3, I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, not even. I take that back. The first time I played Sonic on a Nintendo console,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. Whoa. I don't even remember. I think it was it no, it wasn't even the GameCube because I skipped that era. Really, I was really only PS2.
Technically, they had some stuff on the PS2.
Yeah, no, I think I mean on a Nintendo console, I think it was the Wii. I think I played like with Sonic on the Wii, and I was like, oh wow, this is weird. I'm playing Sonic on a Nintendo console.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had Sonic Advance 2, I think, was on the GameCube. That may have been one of the first games to not be on a Sega console.
Well, Sega, what was it? Sonic Adventure 2 was on.
Yeah.
That's the game you're thinking of. Sonic Adventure 2. But I skipped the GameCube. I had a PS2 because I played DVDs, and then Xbox was for the cool kids, right? That was like Sega back in the day.
Yeah, in a way.
So, and I had a Halo machine essentially. Essentially, is what I had.
That's what everybody had. Sorry to say.
Again, I think the OG Xbox is the second most underrated console of all time. But we're not going to get into that. We'll talk about that.
Another time. That's a can of worms right there.
We'll talk about that another time. So let's stick with Nintendo. There was rumored to be a Direct coming out, and everyone thought it would be. I think there were rumors going to be on the 10th. No, the 10th has come and gone.
Yep.
Could we get a Direct later on in the month? I would hope so. And we talked about what we want from a Direct in January 2019 last episode. However, we still haven't heard any more rumblings about a Direct, but oddly enough, Nintendo sort of tweeted out things that you would think would be in a Direct. Yeah, and those were the
release dates, right?
Those were the release dates.
Remember these games you forgot about last year? Well, here you go.
Well, Yoshi's Crafted World, that's coming out March 29th, 2019 on the Switch. And Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. That's a Wii game being ported to the 3DS. Yes, 3DS is still alive, ladies and gentlemen. This may be the year of the 3DS. The swan song. But that's coming out March 8th.
The end of the 3DS. Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's going to be the end of the 3DS.
I think, you know what? I don't think so. I think they're going to port more games, and it could be 2020.
There's only so many ports you can do, There's a finite amount of good games.
Everything. They could port everything.
Just Dance 2019 coming to the 3DS. There you go, Dan. It's another game you're going to have to pick up.
Another $60 game that I'll never play that I have to pick up.
Oh, my God. They're going to do a Just Dance 2020 for the Wii.
Oh, my God. They're going to do it for the Wii U, too.
I know. And you're going to have to get both.
I'm going to have to get both. Should I sell the 2019 game? Who would buy it?
I want to know. How many Just Dance games do you have for the Wii and Wii U? Do you know offhand? I'm curious.
I can look. Now I'm curious. I can look and see. Now I can look and check it out because I have my collector's app.
You have that handy dandy app. Yeah.
I can tell you how many Just Dance games I have in total.
Oh, I'm very curious. I bet it's more than 10.
Actually, no. I only have 2 Just Dance games.
What? That's impossible.
I have Just Dance for the Wii. That's it.
Just Dance what? 2018, 2017?
2017, 2018, yeah.
2017, 2018. That's it. Oh wow.
That's it.
Hey, you talk about it like it's they're putting another. This is going to be the last game for the Wii. I got to get it. Last game.
I got to get it.
Gotta get
the last game for the Wii U. I got to get it. I got to get it. I got to get the last game.
Wow.
Well, now Limited Run's gonna be making Wii U games, so I'm not even. I don't
oh my God! Here it goes. Yeah. Which weird. I don't. Why?
Underrated console, baby.
No, I think it's
rated. No,
it's rated just fine.
It's rated just fine. All right, let's get into the lead story.
Mm-hmm.
Bungie has officially cut ties with Activision
Yeah.
and
Big
acquires the
news.
rights to Destiny.
Uh-huh.
So
So
Bungie gets to keep Destiny.
they didn't let happen what happened with Halo, where Halo had to be relinquished to Microsoft for whatever reason. That's just kind of how that fell, and Bungie couldn't take their game with them. Good for Microsoft, not so great for Bungie, but they eventually came to we can go ahead and make Destiny. That was essentially their next game was Destiny after.
And they stuck it to Microsoft because all the marketing went to Sony.
Yeah, right. And they're like, we're gonna put it on this other console. We're gonna market it for this other console. Good luck, Microsoft. I mean, it came out on Xbox 360 and Xbox.
But they
One.
got all the DLC drops like later.
They did, yeah.
They didn't get it day one.
So good for Bungie, bad for Activision. Their stocks were down considerably right after the news came out, which is a given.
Well, why? They said Destiny 2 didn't sell as well as they would hoped, right? So it's a disappointment to you, even though you made a lot of money.
Yeah.
It didn't sell as well as the first one, but it's still sold better than any other game.
Right.
It's like Call of Duty. It's like Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts, okay, critically panned. Advanced Warfare, didn't do so well critically, but it still sold better than any other game.
Still made money. Yeah. I mean, it still topped the charts for that. Topped the charts for the holiday season.
Wait.
It chopped the tarts.
It chops the tarts?
It chops the tarts.
Just like Breath of the Wild? Okay.
Just like Breath. That was all you.
That was you.
Way.
That was you. That wasn't
you.
me. That wasn't me.
It's funny how you haven't gone back to that episode to listen to see how wrong you are. You just don't want to be proven wrong.
I don't need to. I don't need to chop the tots.
You don't need to chop the tarts?
I don't need to chop the tarts.
So yeah, I mean,
well, the rumors are that Bungie employees were popping champagne bottles after the news.
I'm sure Activision seems like an awful publisher. Like,
well, they want microtransactions in all the games.
Well, who doesn't? I mean, but then there's also the whole Blizzard debacle. I mean, like at last year's BlizzCon when they're like, "You guys have mobile phones, don't you?" Like, I am pretty sure that directive came down from Activision. It's like we need a way to make money. Diablo's hot. Let's make a mobile version with microtransactions. Like, nobody was about it.
I'm sure they were trying to find a way to put Destiny on mobile.
Right? Yeah, right.
Let's make Destiny 2 a mobile game.
I mean, they can't now because it's not their property anymore. They don't own the publishing rights. So,
how long do you think the Activision Blizzard deal can last?
I don't know. I feel like they have their claws in Blizzard a little stronger than they do in inside Bungie.
Yeah, that's true.
Sadly, because Blizzard is an awesome company or was an awesome company, and I don't know if they're making the best moves right now. Like Overwatch was great. Don't get me wrong. I do definitely love me some Overwatch, but some of their kind of recent moves were just a little. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about companies that are great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Sony. Let's talk about PlayStation. And
of course.
Last week they put out one of Dave's favorite things to talk about on the show, and that's sales numbers.
Oh, you know how I love Sony sales numbers, Dan. Tell me how well Sony is doing.
Well, thank you for asking, Dave. Thank you for asking. I'll tell you how well Sony's doing. They sold to date 91.6 million PS4s.
That is crazy.
Now let's put this in perspective. That is the PS4 is number 4 on the list of just highest selling consoles of all time.
Highest selling home consoles of all
time. Yeah, not counting handhelds.
Doesn't include handhelds. If we do throw the handhelds in the mix, it drops down to 6, with the Game Boy / Game Boy Color and the Nintendo DS coming in like 2 and 3. That's still pretty amazing, given.
Well, let's check who's in front of them. Okay, so you got the unstoppable, unbeatable PS2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's like at 120 million. Right,
a little under 155, according to the wiki article.
155, even better. I was trying to be modest. 155, that is definitely unstoppable. I mean, people bought that just to be a DVD player. once upon a time.
Yeah, that certainly helped sell the system early on.
Especially when they slimmed it down and made it cheaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
See a lot of those slim models in the wild in garage sales.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then we have you have the PS1, right? The PS1,
the OG PlayStation, just ekes out number 3, the Wii.
Yeah, and then the Wii, which is like a 101 or something like that, 101 million.
Yeah,
and the PS1 is 102 million.
Right.
So 10 more. If the PS4 can send 10 more million copies, consoles, it could be top 3. Sony will have the top 3 home selling console of all time.
Right.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Insane. By the way, didn't they say something about console gaming being dead last generation?
Well,
did Michael Pachter say something about console gaming?
They always say console gaming is dead. Come on, or people will say PC gaming is dead. You know, it's alive and well in some format. These numbers prove that.
So, just as a comparison with Xbox, we don't know officially, but reports are that they sold just under 39 million copies of consoles of Xbox One.
Yeah. This article says 39.1 million.
Yeah. So, you think they can catch the Super Nintendo, which is at 44 million?
Actually, it says 49 million here. Honestly,
it's 49. I guess it was 44 million.
I mean, it's definitely out of reach. I don't think it's going to make it, because we're going to get announcements this year in some fashion about the new consoles that are coming out. That's always going to hurt current console sales a little bit. It may kind of put some people like saying, well, I'll just wait for the new system, right? I already have this system. I'll wait for the new one to come out, Well, so, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
I don't think Sony is, that eager to get out of get out of this generation. They want to stick in this generation, especially we have Days Gone coming out, which is not going to be a system. I don't think it's going to be a major system seller. The Last of Us Part 2, we have Death Stranding. I think those games can be console sellers if they come out only for this generation. And if they come out this year, I think they can. Even if they announce the PS5, and give a big price drop for the PS4, I think they can sell 10 million copies.
Yeah. I mean, they're certainly doing real well. Some of these some of these increased numbers are definitely due to the Pro, definitely due to the One X. Having that come out, which means people buy the console yet again, right? Because they're not differentiating the Pro from the regular 4 and whatnot. So that kind of constitutes some numbers. And I think all of these systems, given their long lifespan, especially the PS1 and the PS2 and their 10-year lifespan, people bought multiple consoles because their original one kind of conked out, right? Or they wanted to get the slim model or whatever it is.
I will say that the PS4 numbers are a little skewed a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, we know there are, PlayStation 1, like, we know that there are Wiis, like there are 100 million Wiis out there, right? Mm-hmm. But the PlayStation 4, we have the PS4 Slim, the OG PS4, and then
Slim too, yeah.
And then we have the PS4 Pro.
Yep.
Right. Which by all accounts is sort of different because it's an incremental upgrade. But they count that. They count that in sales just like Xbox counts Xbox One S and X.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But still, PlayStation selling 3-1 over Xbox. That's almost 3-1. That's crazy.
That is. And I just looked it up. The SNES sold approximately 49.1 million. Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't think Xbox OG. I don't think Xbox can catch that.
I'm kind of right there with you, sadly. As much as I love my Xbox.
But there's lots of talk of maybe the PS5 and Xbox Prime, as they've coined it.
Oh, it's gonna be the Prime. You'll see.
We'll see. Hey, listen, I'm
That's
trying
a good contender, right?
I'm trying to speak it into existence for you. I'm calling it the Prime too. We don't know if that could be the last of like consoles as we know it, right? Because we could be going the streaming route, right? Everyone's talking about streaming. They're streaming games on the Switch in Japan. There are betas streaming games on Google Chrome on the browser, right? And we already know mobile is king right now.
Yep.
Google has been reported, obviously, to have their streaming, their video game streaming service in the works. And now Amazon's throwing their hat in the mix. And they're reportedly working on a streaming service for games. Now, this sort of makes sense because Amazon already owns Twitch.
Right.
Right.
They have infrastructure in place already.
They have
it is the biggest streaming platform right now. They kind of bought the company outright, put it into the fold. You get
$1 billion, I think they spent on it.
Sure. You get a free Twitch subscription when you have Amazon Prime. So you just a lot of people just have it. It's it's a really good service too. I think they've done really well with it. They are a pardon the pun, but they are a prime player to get into streaming games. They definitely have the funds to do it, and they have the infrastructure in place to kind of add on, streaming games to it now, right? So you can have somebody playing the game, streaming the game that they're streaming out to all their fans, right? So, the cost for equipment is now super low. You just have to get the streaming box and some sort of quality controller and a monitor and a good internet connection, and you're good to go, right? Definitely kind of opens the door for a lot of celebrities,
Well, Amazon they put out some stinkers, right? They put out the Amazon phone that didn't go well. They didn't do a really good job with that.
No.
They sort of had their little box, the streaming box for like Apple TV, right? That didn't do so well. I think they didn't do really well. I bought it because you could buy the controller and play mobile games on there, and that didn't do so well. That didn't do so well either. So they put out a lot of stinkers. I hope they can do a better job with their streaming service. I think service is key to Amazon's success because they do a great job with it, just Amazon and in general their service. Hardware has been hit or miss, or just all miss for the most part, except for the e-readers, which I don't think isn't a major player anymore, right? Do they sell a lot of those e-readers? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, Kindles and the like are certainly still good because the contrast is kind of easy on the eyes. I think that's kind of like the big draw, like the EA.
But as phones get bigger and bigger, there's no reason.
Well, it's not necessarily just the size. It's kind of being able to it is partly the size, and it's also being able to read comfortably for long periods of time.
True,
and
but phones now have different contrasts, different ways you can actually read, books on your phone. I was on a subway the other day, and I saw a lady actually reading a book on her phone.
Well, sure.
I don't know I forgot what type of phone it was. It definitely was a big phone. I don't know if it was an iPhone or an Android.
Yeah.
But it was a Plus or a Max, as the new iPhones are. And she sort of had it contrast where it was just black and white. So I guess Kindles are becoming obsolete. That's why they're so cheap now. They're super cheap to buy if you want a Kindle.
Yeah, I mean I mean it is kind of slowly being phased out a little bit.
My point is Amazon doesn't have a good track record with putting out these things.
Sure. No. They're not the most stellar.
That's why I sort of I'm questioning how good this service is going to be, the video games streaming service. I want to know I need to know a little bit more about it. However, as we talked about Epic Games, if you can get exclusive games only on your platform, that could be key. And Amazon, when they bought Twitch, I think they opened up a studio to make games as well. I don't think anything has come of it. And if it has, maybe they're just mobile games. I don't really know.
Yeah, same.
I haven't really kept up with it, but I'm scratching my head when it comes to this.
I don't know. You're right that the track record is not great, but they can definitely knock this out of the park, you know, because they would technically be. I mean, everyone's kind of dipped their toe in a little bit, right? You got the PlayStation Now, where it has some streaming, and you know the Google stuff. I think you can stream Assassin's Creed from your browser. Is that right?
Yeah.
You know,
Chrome
there's like a right. Nobody's done like a. I guess Sony's come the closest to like a full-fledged ecosystem. You know,
Or PlayStation Now.
Right.
The Gaikai acquisition from like 2012.
Right. If kind of Amazon comes out the gate with something that's more full featured and has some exclusives on there, and you know it's very easy to play and you can use whatever controller for it, like I think they'll have a winner on their hands. You know.
Well, someone else has entered the streaming video game foray, and that is someone I never even thought would do this, and that's Verizon. Verizon is apparently experimenting with video game streaming service.
Verizon is the new challenger, right? It's like one big game of Smash.
This reminds me of the early 90s when everyone's making a console. It's just easy to be a video game, to be a video game industry. Let's just make consoles. Right now, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is easy. Video game streaming service. We could all do it. We could do it." So we got Google. Well, we got the major players: PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. Those are the major players. Now we have Google, Amazon, Verizon throwing their hat in the mix. This is going to be interesting. Next 10 years is going to be very interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah. I do like that. Some of the so they had mentioned potential games like Far Cry 5, Battlefield 5, Destiny 2, right? Which would be great. They claim that you can play those mobile, which would be awesome. So you're streaming all that stuff. There's some screenshots that show God of War and Red Dead 2. You know, God of War PS4 exclusive. Red Dead does not have a PC port, and there's been no news of that. So interesting to see those titles on there. You know.
Well, I mentioned Epic Games and their war against Steam right now, right?
So they're going head to head.
They're going head to head, and I'm glad you brought up Assassin's Creed because that's Ubisoft. And Ubisoft has made a deal with Epic Games to bring all Ubisoft games to the Epic Game Store and not Steam, starting with the Division 2. Division 2, well, if you want to play Division 2 on PC, you're going to have to play it on Epic Game Store because it's not going to be on Steam.
They're starting to draw lines in the sand, you know.
I told you Epic Game Store was going to be a major player.
No, wait a minute.
You sort of doubted when this was when they first announced that Epic Game Store would try to compete with Steam. You were lukewarm, like I don't know if they can really compete with Steam. Steam is too big. They've been doing it for a long time.
Well, they've been doing it for 14 years now. It came out with the launch of Half-Life 2. Was like, hey, we have this Steam platform, you know. And they have millions of games on there. So, I mean, sure, you can get some exclusives and whatnot, but, you know, Steam, it's going to take a lot to unseat Steam or to get to Steam's level, you know.
So, they're already undercutting Steam, sort of with how much they charge, right? So,
yeah. They have to. Like, how do you get people from one platform to the other? You got to make it more enticing.
You get to make more money on Epic Game Store, and if you're using their engine, then they won't charge you for using the engine. Obviously, and it has to be on Epic Game Store, so you're saving money both ways. So I think this is a major play, and I think they're gonna step up and change the way Steam does. The way Steam does things.
I mean, they're making the right moves for a quote unquote new company in an online games store marketplace, I guess is really what you want to call it, right? So they have like Fortnite, like the biggest game out right now, right? Everyone's doing the Fortnite and doing the dances and all that. So, you know, they obviously have that. They have the Division now.
As a side note, Fortnite you would think is making the most money, right, out of all the mobile games out there, and they're not king when it comes to mobile games. Candy Crush still is bringing in billions of dollars.
Oh, sure.
More than
Sure.
Fortnite. That's insane.
Well,
Dave,
yeah, man.
Dave, why are we making games? Come on, think of something. Think of something.
All you have to do is make a
I'll-
match 3 game. That's what all the top selling games are. They're match 3. It's
All right,
not difficult.
I'll think of a game.
The difficulty.
Code it.
I'll tell you where the difficulty comes in. Right? It's not in the programming. It's not in the whatever. It's in the visuals. It's in the visuals, and it's in getting the microtransaction recipe correct. Right? It has to be engaging and bright and have all the right sound effects, and it has to look pretty, which, Candy Crush hits on all those points. And it has to, you have to give them a little taste, right? First one's free. And then when that all kind of runs out, like, okay, well, here's your paywall. You want to go ahead and play again, pay us $5.
Ooh, all right, I got an idea. Flappy Rats.
Oh boy.
Come on. Stick with me.
Boy.
Stick with me.
Oh boy.
Flappy Rats. Okay.
No. I understand. I already understand the concept.
We're in New York. All right. Rats with big ears.
Uh-huh.
Just like Dumbo, right? Had big ears for elephant.
Uh-huh.
Big ear rats, and they're flying, right? And they're dodging trains.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought you were gonna say. I understood it from the get. The name says it all. Oh boy.
See, New York Flappy Rats.
Dan, I'm gonna go ahead and say this with all the love in the world. Let's not quit our day jobs.
No, we would have to do this while we have our day jobs. Come on, Flappy Rats.
And also do the podcast on top of that.
Come on, Flappy Rats, and we can big it up on the podcast. Flappy Rats. How good that
Oh
game
yeah,
is.
yeah.
We can sponsor ourselves.
Oh, it's $1 million idea, folks. And we've just told everybody in the entire world what our idea is.
Flappy Rats, I'm telling you. Well, okay. Maybe we'll edit this out. We'll just edit this part out. Every time I say the name, you just beep it. You just bleep it.
Oh my god.
All right.
Funny.
We talked about it earlier, the first part of the show, with the Mortal Kombat trilogy arcade cabinet, which I'm looking forward to. I want to hopefully when it comes out, plays well. The buttons are responsive.
Yep.
I think I would pick this up for Christmas 2019.
Mm-hmm.
If it's good and it's on sale. But I'm so stoked because I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan for Mortal Kombat 11. All right, and that's coming out in April.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said if you pre-ordered it, you can get the beta that comes out soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the
beta I think is in March, so you get a little bit ahead of time. Game comes out April.
Game comes out in April. It comes out in April. But they just released the cover art for Mortal Kombat 11.
Mm-hmm.
It looks badass with Scorpion sort of in midair with his chain in his hand, right? Like he's about to say, "Get over here."
Mm-hmm.
But I think out of all the Mortal Kombat games, this is the first. If this is the true cover art that will be on the cover,
Mm-hmm.
this is the first time the dragon hasn't been prevalent in the cover art because he's blocking the dragon in the background.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see enough of it to know that it's.
You can see the head. You can see the dragon's head.
Yeah, you can definitely see the dragon head. I mean, it's definitely got enough of it to know, for you to know that it's the iconic logo, as well as them putting Mortal Kombat 11 over the top of the whole entire thing.
Now, why do you think they keep putting Scorpion in the cover? He was in the cover of Mortal Kombat X.
Because he's the guy. It's him and Sub-Zero are the most iconic characters.
I understand that, but why can't they put Sub-Zero in this one?
I mean, they could. I ain't mad. I mean, I think this looks pretty. I think this looks pretty as hell. He's kind of coming at the screen. He's got the spear in one hand and his hand outstretched in the other, like he's gonna gut someone's throat. Actually, that's probably exactly what he's doing to Raiden or Kung Lao. If we could see the other side of that.
I want them to make Sub-Zero. That was my favorite character growing up as a kid.
I mean, I like him too. Both those guys.
I like Scorpion, and listen, Scorpion his name to fame was "Get over here," right?
Yeah, right?
I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. But Sub-Zero was always my guy. That was my guy.
Yeah,
playing in an arcade.
Mm-hmm. It's badass.
He was badass.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they don't port this game to mobile.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact, there's actually 2 different Sub-Zeros.
Yes.
There's 2 different Sub-Zeros. I forget how that all plays out, but if you play Mortal Kombat 3, you play an unmasked Sub-Zero, right? Which is not the original Sub-Zero from the first 2 games, funny enough. Which is why in Trilogy, you can play as both the masked and unmasked Sub-Zero, because they're technically 2 different people.
Well, they should have the unmasked Sub-Zero. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
I like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? And you know what? I like Sub-Zero so much. I brought his side-scrolling game on the PlayStation.
Sub-Zero Mythologies.
Oh my god, that game was awful.
My apologies for you and your thumbs.
Listen, that was like the only I think I got that game for my birthday.
Yeah,
something
right.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was all about that game. I was really trying. I was like, yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love Sub-Zero, and they made, he got his own game, and I don't know why I can't jump down. This is weird. Why I hit that jump pretty precise. I hit that jump and I died. I don't know, why do I keep dying? I'm pretty good at platformers.
Awful.
I know it was awful. I tried until I couldn't try anymore. But I hope they please don't port Mortal Kombat to mobile. Don't do it. Just leave it. Just leave it on consoles.
Yeah, right. Well, they had
the game is coming out on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, I won't be buying it on the PS4.
They did have ports of Mortal Kombat, and I think also the DC Injustice game.
Oh, the Injustice game.
Yeah. They were separate than the original game. They didn't really. It was a kind of its own thing.
I played the heck out of Injustice on my iPad, the old iPad, like iPad 2 or iPad 3, whichever one it was, whenever it came out.
Right.
Now, we talked about this prior to the Game Awards. This was a few shows ago. There were rumors about a new Alien Isolation game coming out. Mm-hmm. And we thought maybe it would be announced at the Video Game Awards. Even Jeff Keighley sort of tweeted something out about Aliens. Mm-hmm. Right, so there were lots of hints thrown out there about a new Alien Isolation game. So we thought it would be Alien Isolation 2, right? A sequel to the 2015 game, which I did not like at all. I know you liked it because you love your spooky games. Imagine
Alien Isolation was like, I think I would have
Resident Evil 7 before Resident Evil 7.
Well, kind of. I was going to say, like, it was probably my game of the year that year, 2014. Like, it was just, it was incredible.
Get out of here. Really?
It was incredible. No. Yeah, like, it was insane the things they did with that game. Like, everything wasn't 100% scripted.
It was
like
2014. I thought it was 2015.
Yeah, no. You actually never knew where the monster, you never knew where the xenomorph was coming from. And you'd kind of reload the game and play the save again. You go, oh, he's gonna like pop out of the vent over here. No, it's all kind of random. The monster's moving around in real time. Like, it's crazy.
First of all, get out of here with the game of the year. We had Destiny, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, Mario Kart 8, Far Cry 4.
Shadow of Mordor is also fantastic, but.
Watch Dogs, Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I know. Watch Dogs. You're just naming games at this point. Come on. Alien Isolation is a great game. You may not like it, but it did incredible things.
Sunset Overdrive, Drive Club, Child of Light, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Castlevania Lords of Shadows 2. Broken Age, a game that you love. Broken Age came out in 2014.
Yeah, Broken Age was great.
But it's not going to be a sequel. Well, sort of. It is going to be a mobile only game. Yeah,
looking into the story, I was like, ooh, a sequel to Alien Isolation, which was great. They're calling it Alien: Blackout, right? And you're like, oh, it's following the same kind of title structure. Like, yeah, maybe it's going to be a full-fledged sequel for consoles and like PC. It looks like it's a glorified Five Nights at Freddy's, where you have to manage power to the different parts of the systems. Right? That's essentially what it's going to be. storyline wise, it takes place between the events of the first Alien movie and the second Alien movie. You play as Ripley's daughter, which is cool. I'm kind of with all that, but then the game is really just resource monitoring, or management, I should say. Got to put power to this thing, and put power to this thing, and move this around, and you got aliens coming after you. It's like, all right, eh.
Well, you know what? Everyone else felt the same way because it got so many dislikes on the YouTube channel on the trailer.
Right.
Well, you know what? I think in large part that they teased it, right? And people thought it would be like some big AAA game. If they would have just announced it, I don't think anybody would have cared. It wouldn't have been a big deal. But it's getting so much hate because they teased it.
They hyped it up so much.
They hyped it up so much.
And then it turns out to be a mobile game.
A big disappointment mobile game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be cool. I'm sure it's going to be like a free to play thing with microtransactions because that's how they love to do.
That's how Fox loves to do it.
Right. So I'll probably give it a spin. I don't think I'm going to be like enamored with it, but we'll see.
All right. I always like to end on a funny, crazy, weird, unusual note, and this was pretty cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Pretty awesome. More than cool. It's pretty awesome. Someone actually played Mario Kart on a big baseball stadium jumbotron.
Mm-hmm. At the Kansas City Royal Stadium, I think, this kind of made the rounds on the internet. They threw it up. They threw it up.
A tournament.
Yeah.
There was like a tournament, and they played it. They played it. I don't know. They actually played it in little screens in front of them, and it just played on the big screen.
It played up on the jumbotron.
And they got helicopter shots of them playing on it.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. You get the Arrowhead Stadium.
Oh, Arrowhead Stadium. Right. Yeah.
Then they got the cool aerial shot in the helicopter of them playing Mario Kart. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. Can you think we could do that at Giant Stadium?
Maybe in the off season. Well, I guess it is the off season for the Giants.
It is now officially the off season.
It is officially the off season, right? Nobody plays outdoor concerts, over in the winter time. So stadium's free.
But you know what? At least the Cowboys lost.
We have to take solace in something,
I gotta take solace in something. At least the Cowboys lost.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know if you know this or not, but King K. Rool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, King K. Rool.
I know King K. Rool.
Piranha Plant and the Ice Climber amiibos will be releasing soon. You can pre-order them. You can pre-order.
Is this exclusive news? Is this news that's just dropping?
This is news I'm just looking at.
Okay, this is good to know.
It came up in my feed. You can pre-order them right now at Walmart for $15.99 a piece. And you best to believe I will be buying them.
Whoa, $15.99. That is a price hike. That's a
you think
price
so?
Hike.
Well, it's coming out.
They were normally $12.99 for all amiibo.
Well,
this
these
is
are specialty amiibos, right?
Are they?
Well, King Rool is a big amiibo. It looks pretty big.
That doesn't matter. I mean, we have the Donkey Kong one. We have the Ganondorf one. Those are big amiibo.
Well, I got the Ridley. She's big. That's a big one.
Sure. And how much was that? $12.99.
I don't remember. I don't think so. I brought it from the Nintendo
pretty sure
store.
It's $12.99.
Probably $15.99 at that point.
Well, there you go. Price hike. That's ridiculous.
Well, they're being released February 19th.
Mm-hmm.
So
look, I'm still gonna get them, but I'm gonna be upset. I'm a little upset.
He's gonna protest with his wallet and buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. That's what gonna do.
Oh boy. So yeah. Well, that's it's somewhat good news, I guess. It's a good way to end the show. We got new amiibo coming, so definitely gonna get those in our pickup soon enough. I'll tell you that. Yeah, that's episode 147 in the books. Just want to thank you guys for fans and doing all the good stuff that you do. If you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Vero at Rated G for Gamers. You can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers.com. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.